Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user AvailableT7528. Am I the a-hole for saying my brother shouldn't have brought his pregnant girlfriend to my wedding and for refusing to let her be in my wedding photos? I got married last weekend. I'm still so pissed off at what my brother did. He took all of the attention off of me and my husband. Normally, I don't feel the need to be the center of attention, but this was my freaking wedding day. I feel like it's all anyone was talking about during the wedding, and now it's like the main thing any of them even remember from the entire thing. It was a destination wedding within the US, so nothing crazy. We kept the guest list to our families, immediate and extended, as well as closest friends. My parents paid for our immediate family to arrive about 5 days ahead of time. So, it was my parents, my sister and I initially, and my brother arriving a few days later. We knew my brother was bringing a date, no big deal. He said he was just bringing a girl from school. He didn't even call her his girlfriend officially. My parents showed up at the airport to pick my brother up, and there he was. Hand in hand with an obviously pregnant girl that none of us have ever met. My parents were obviously taken aback. My brother greeted them like everything was normal. According to my mom, my parents didn't really know what to do or say. Then he just said, "Surprise!" My poor mom almost fainted and claims my dad yelled out, "What the F have you done?" He introduces us to this girl, but doesn't clarify if she's his girlfriend and doesn't give as much information at all, really. It was very weird and it was obvious that she was uncomfortable. She said she wasn't feeling well and needed to go lay down after the flight. So at dinner, it was just our family as she was resting. We were all awkwardly sitting around the table eating dinner, barely saying a word. My mom finally says, brother's name, "Is that your baby?" By then we all assumed it was, but my mom needed confirmation. The lack of any real explanation or details from him up until then was just odd. He admitted it's technically not his baby, but he's in love with her and intends on being a father to the baby anyway. The actual father isn't involved and doesn't want to be, and if they get married, then he can adopt the baby, so he'll legally be the father. She's living with him, and none of us knew this either. He's been her main support person throughout the entire thing. She's 28 weeks, well, 29 now since this was over a week ago. I think this was worse than what we had all assumed. He's so in love with her that he's going to take on the responsibility of her child and marry her. Yet, we've never even heard of her? He said he has mentioned her quite a few times. Well, maybe he's mentioned her name in passing, not to me, maybe to my parents, but never said she was his girlfriend or pregnant. None of us understand. He's 21, about to graduate college, planning to enter law school next, and he's an attractive guy. Why would he do this? My parents, especially my mom, were stressing out about it all weekend long throughout my entire wedding weekend. It was like my wedding became an afterthought. All my parents could talk about was how to make my brother change his mind about this girl. Then, when the wedding photographer was taking family pictures, he wanted her in them. That was really the breaking point for me. She isn't family. None of us knew about their relationship and we met her 2 days prior. She shouldn't be in our official family pictures from my wedding. It's like, forget the bride and groom. Look at random Everly woman hitching herself to my brother. No, I told him no. I refused to let her be in the photos. My mom made me allow her to be in one picture, but said we don't have to buy that one or put it in display anywhere. It just made my blood boil. Anyway, I don't think he should have brought her. There was no reason to bring her to my wedding, especially without warning. I mean, it's all my side of the family could talk about, and he was reticent to even correct them about it not being his baby. He said that's because it was awkward for her to have to explain the full scenario to everyone, so he just let people think what they wanted. Because he wouldn't at least say something, everyone was gossiping and wondering about it the whole time. I'm posting this because I'm upset that several friends and even my own mom are telling me I'm overreacting and just need to accept it. But when I told a group of my co-workers about it after the fact, they weren't at the wedding, they agreed with me and thought what my brother did was absolutely insane and rude. Opie, you're not the a-hole, your brother is an a-hole. Either clueless or calculated, it doesn't matter. He blindsided everyone, made your wedding about his drama, and then watched the fallout. And his girlfriend, well, it sucks for her. Maybe he downplayed it to her as well. Maybe she didn't know it was your wedding and thought it was a family gathering. It still made for an awkward introduction to the family, and that's all on him as well. And about the picture incident, again, it's on your brother. He was the one that kept pushing her to be in the pictures. Maybe she didn't even want to be in the pictures because, well, she's got some common sense. We don't know. And because of all of this, Opie, I think you need to sit down and have a proper conversation with your brother and put everything on the table, how what he did totally messed up the wedding for you. See what he has to say about that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Funny Efficient 1108 says, not the a-hole, but your brother's actions. It just shows his immaturity, and he's not even ready for the type of relationship this girl is trying to pull him in. And as for someone in law school or going to, he should know he can't adopt that child unless the real father signs over his rights. He can show up anytime, demand a paternity test, and claim his right as the father. I don't know if all that pregnancy sex got him hypnotized, but he isn't thinking straight, and for him to do this during such an important moment for you was effed up, and you should tell him as much. And Opie responds, yes, he's basically a baby himself still and is not prepared to be somebody's dad. Rinmi says, not the a-hole. What he did was an a-hole move, though he probably didn't think it through enough to realize all the implications of his actions. He absolutely shouldn't have dropped that bomb at your wedding or any wedding. And Opie responds, I don't think he did it to be malicious. I don't think he thought about what he was doing to me. He also hasn't apologized though. If after being told something you did was rude and hurtful, at least own up to it. Jason Talishman says, I think he knew in a wedding setting that attention would be divided. Your wedding was his meat shield. And Opie responds, interesting take and something I hadn't thought of. He was purposely trying to take attention away from me and my wedding. He just wanted some of the attention taken off of him and his poor decisions? Still selfish. And Angelicek92 says, he knew exactly what he was doing. Such an a-hole move on his part. What did he think would happen? He couldn't let you have the attention on your wedding day? Is he that spoiled? Not the a-hole. And Opie responds, he's the youngest child. He definitely gets away with more than my sister and I ever could. Anything he does usually gets forgiven. Additional information from Opie's comments. It's not that I was mad about him bringing somebody I'd never met before. I didn't expect him to bring a pregnant girlfriend, announce he basically plans to become a father and husband, and then ask for her to be included in the wedding photos. Even if she wasn't pregnant, I think it'd be weird and rude to request that his girlfriend, whom none of us knew about, be included. Just because I was fine with him bringing a date that we'd never met doesn't mean I was fine with the rest of it. He could have told us ahead of time at the very least. He had months to tell us about what was going on. Months. He didn't have to wait and surprise us all on my wedding weekend. And yeah, I am concerned about him ruining his life. It's almost all my parents could talk about all weekend. We all think he's insane and that this will be a gigantic mistake. He's 21 and he's had a string of girlfriends going back to probably about the 5th grade. He almost always has a girlfriend. The seriousness of most of these relationships is questionable, but that's to be expected for his age. However, he said they were friends for 2 years, but it didn't turn romantic until after she was pregnant. Now, my parents pay for where he lives and for where his girlfriend is now apparently living. I asked them if they were going to stop paying, and they said, well, we can't make them homeless. He's graduating in a few months. He was planning to go to law school immediately following, but now he's hinting that he'll delay that since he'll obviously need to have a full-time job to support a baby. Oh, and she took a leave of absence from school due to her pregnancy, so he'll need to support her while she goes back. He can't fully support himself now. My parents pay for much of his life, so if they continue to do that, they'll be paying for this girl and her baby too. And it's not fair to do that to our parents. Alright, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and we got a ton of context. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. It's been 4 months since my post, and I think I might be about to do what I'm assuming very few people come here to do. I'm sharing an update and want to say that in hindsight, I think I was actually the a-hole in my situation. I think I was riding high on wedding hormones and center of the universe vibes at the time, but I've slowly come down to earth in the many weeks since I last posted. I let my worry about the gossip about my brother and his girlfriend get in the way of me enjoying my day. There's no way to go back and change it. I also realized that I should have just agreed to do one photo with his girlfriend included. One photo wouldn't have been important and it didn't have to be considered the official photo of me and my family that I put in my wedding album or hung on the wall. Instead, I chose to be a witch to somebody I was meeting for the first time and we already felt very uncomfortable. For many weeks after I made my first post, I was sure I was not the a-hole. My head has deflated and I've had a talk with my brother about it. We both came to the conclusion that in our family, we didn't really learn how to have difficult conversations about things that we knew might make somebody else uncomfortable, which is why I couldn't calmly voice my feelings to my brother on my wedding day and instead acted like a spoiled child. It's also why instead of having a normal conversation with our parents to let them know that he was dating somebody who was pregnant by somebody else and that he was going to be raising this baby as his own, he panicked and decided to just announce it without actually having to voice it to them at all. And my wedding just so happened to be the first occasion he had to do so. I don't think he mentioned to hurt me. Several people have asked me about an update on my brother and his girlfriend. Well, she's his wife now. They got married. They're still together, living together. We've gotten to know her a little better, and she's not as bad as we all wanted to make her out to be. I think she genuinely loves my brother, and my brother loves her. She just so happened to be pregnant when they met, and they both acknowledge it's a bit unusual. My brother is the type who brings all the stray animals home, so I think we all sort of worried that he just felt bad for her and wanted to help her and protect her, but I think it's more than that. But to be very clear, I'm not comparing her to a stray animal. I'm only trying to explain my brother's character. Anyway, I went to her baby shower. She seems perfectly normal and nice, and really crazy about my brother. The baby was finally born at 41 weeks and of course my brother was there. The baby is several weeks old now. Half the time I forget that the baby isn't actually my brother's baby and isn't actually related to us by blood. After my wedding, my parents started to get more concerned about the whole situation with my brother. My mom became the most judgmental one. My brother talked to our dad and eventually got him to realize that my brother is an adult and he's going to do what he wants to do. Eventually, my dad was like, "You're right, and I'd rather just support you here." My mom, on the other hand, couldn't get on board. She wouldn't let herself even give his girlfriend or wife a chance. She convinced herself that my brother was just being manipulated and taking advantage by this evil woman. She told everyone that too. So things were sort of tense because I felt someone in the middle at that point. But now, my mom has been the only person to babysit since the birth. It's like she saw the baby and forgot all about everything and she's all buddy-buddy with the wife now. I'm shocked that this woman has decided to not completely cut my mom off of the baby's life altogether, but perhaps she's a bigger person than all of us. Well, it'll be good for you. You owned your part, you made peace, and you grew. That's rare. So congratulations. Keep showing up with humility and clarity. And on that note, here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user PresentFindings6343. Am I the a-hole for refusing to call my stepmom mom even though it makes her cry? So I, 16 female, live with my dad, 43 male, and his wife Kara, 40 female. My mom, 37 female, lives an hour away with my half-brother Luke, 5 male, and her boyfriend, 38 male. I haven't lived with my mother since she and my dad got divorced when I was 10. She got with her boyfriend only a few months after the divorce, and I admit it kind of put a wedge in our relationship. I felt hurt that she moved on so fast after she and my dad split up, but now it's whatever and I'm fine with them. I like my half-brother, but I only see him when I visit my mom, which is only every couple months. My relationship with my mom isn't great, and I don't really like being around her as she is very nitpicky and seems to criticize everything I do. I think this is why Kara has been pushing herself as a mother figure lately. Kara started dating my dad when I was 13, and she moved in when I was 14. They got married later that year. I like Kara, and we've always gotten along. She's been there for me when I needed and has always been present, which I appreciate. But a couple of weeks ago, she asked me to start calling her mom. I said no because I already have a mom. I care about her, but I don't see her as my mom. She suggested alternative mom names like Mama, Mother, and Ma, and I have said no to all. I just don't see her as my mom. She seemed hurt by this, but didn't say anything. Later, my dad told me to just say it once in a while to make her feel better because she's been trying really hard to be a good parent figure to me. I told him that's great, but I don't feel comfortable addressing her that way. He got annoyed and walked off. Now, with Mother's Day coming up, she wants me to do something with her when I get back from my mom's house, and I told her no, I appreciate her and celebrate her when appropriate, like her birthday, but I feel like it would be strange to celebrate Mother's Day with someone who is not my mom. She was hurt and started crying before going back to her room. Am I the a-hole for this? I don't want her to be sad. No, Opie, I don't think you're the a-hole. You were just trying to set a clear, respectful boundary. Bottom line is, titles like mom can't be forced. They have to be earned and feel right. Now, a good thing I take from this is that Kara definitely loves you, but her feelings are hers to manage. She shouldn't be pushing you into calling her something. You've shown appreciation without pretending, and that's honest, that's mature. And if I was in your shoes, in order to clear the air and somewhat set expectations, I would sit down with Kara and have a proper conversation about this, and see if you can build from there. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. FiestaFan73 says, you are not responsible for managing Kara's emotions, not the a-hole. SadMall6704, not the a-hole. It's completely reasonable to not call someone you've known for 2 years mom or any other variation of the word, especially when you already have a mom. Royal Otherwise says, not the a-hole, but your dad is. And Bubbly Albatross 946 says, no a-holes here. First and foremost, kudos to you for being thoughtful about your own perspective and making an effort to understand your stepmoms too. I'm a stepmom and it can be difficult and kind of painful to not really know where you fit in. People have a clearer idea of what being a mom looks like, and for some stepmoms who do a lot of what we think of as mom duties, it feels normal to want the mom perks. Your love, a day to celebrate your relationship, and a title that feels validating. It may help to have a conversation where you make it clear that she does mean a lot to you and talk about what makes your relationship special, even though it won't ever be the same thing. Maybe set aside a day to focus on that each year instead of Mother's Day. If you are the type of family who uses cute nicknames, come up with something new that doesn't overlap too much with the very mom-like suggestions she has made. I don't think she wants to make your life hard, she just needs to know that she matters. Often even adults don't know how to express what they're feeling. You all will be just fine. Alright, the community overall agrees that OP was not the a-hole and they gave her some really good suggestions. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you all who commented on my last post. A lot of you guys have some really good advice, which I have used in this situation. I went to my mom's yesterday for a couple of hours in the morning, and when I got back, I asked Kara if we could talk. First, I know some of you thought her crying was emotional manipulation, and I'd like to say I really don't think it was. She wasn't bawling or anything, she just teared up and left soon after. I think so I wouldn't see her cry. We talked for a while and she apologized for pushing the whole mom thing. She said she loves me as her stepdaughter and she was just feeling a little sad with Mother's Day coming up and not having any kids of her own to share it with. I told her about Stepmother's Day. Thanks user temporary lead 8077, and we are planning on celebrating it together. I made sure to let her know that I do appreciate her and everything she has done for me. We hugged and I feel good about the conversation. I am now working on a special Kara card for her for Sunday, and I'm excited for it. Smiley face. Well, OP, there's not much more to say except that was really nice and wholesome. What a great update. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.